Hi, welcome to GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. As you can see here, this is the Olympus OM D EM5 Mark II. Just doing a quick show you around. Got it here with the flash on, the grip, the extra grip here, and the additional battery grip here as well. There you go. As you may or may not know from my previous videos, I've sold my Panasonic GH4, and the reason I did that was because I wanted this lens, which I'll do a review about next. But because I've got that lens, it's not stabilised on the GH4, so I decided to get the OMD. It was a cross between the EM1 or the EM5 Mark II, and the EM1 has the better video features that I wanted, and the flip out screen, and a couple of other little bits and pieces I liked, which included this little flash as well, which as that's on the top, I'll start with that. Comes with it, and it is a clip-on flash. There's no pop-up flash built in. Some people may or may not like that. It's not a problem if the one they give you is like this, in my opinion. If it was just the normal one that pops up like on the EM5 and the EM1, not so keen, because it's not giving me any benefit and it's an extra thing to carry around. Whereas this little thing is a miniature proper flash. It's swivel, it bounces, and it's not particularly powerful. It's no more powerful than a built-in flash, but it does give you a nice easy bounce off the walls, the ceilings, etc. So it is, in my opinion, a lot more useful than a built-in flash that doesn't bounce, or even if it does bounce, you have to get your finger under it, doesn't work particularly well. This works properly as a little mini flash, and it's great, and it's called the FL-LM3. I'm not sure if that is, if you can put that on the EM1 or the EM5. I don't see why not, but I would have to check or try that out. So the EM5 Mark II headline features are the much better video, the high resolution shot mode, and they've now switched to at last to the tilty flippy screen, which is fully articulating, which is fantastic. That's one of the reasons I went for this over the EM1. Works really well. The 5-axis image stabilization is astounding, and you can get, especially if you do like slow motion video, you can get video that is not far off what you would expect from a good setup with a decent gimbal. And I'm not particularly good at it, I have to say, but even I can get pretty good stable video with this, and it's easy as well. It's not complicated to do it. I'll strip it down to its bare bones, if you like, because obviously I've got the grip, the extra battery grip on here. And actually I'll start with a couple of negative points really, because the battery life is dreadful. There's no way around it other than using the grip. I've got the grip, I've now got 2 batteries running, and to be honest, I would call this a 3 or 4 battery camera, in that you really need 2 in there and 2 spares, or at least 2 in and 1 spare, so that during the day you can take the battery out of the grip quite easily and then pop another one in the grip. But yeah, the battery life, just as it is pretty dire, to be honest. It's one I mean, it's not so bad because the batteries are small, they're light, and they're cheap to buy. You know, you don't have to spend a fortune on, you know, aftermarket batteries now. I think the one I got was an X Pro or something it was called, but works absolutely fine. Obviously you don't have to have the battery, you can take the battery bit off, but to me you really need the extra battery life, so if you're going to get it, you get the grip. This is the same battery grip bit, this bottom bit is the same as what was on the M5, but this section is actually different, so you need to buy the proper one. If you get it when you buy the camera, you know, possibly get a deal, or if you get it second hand, it's thrown in, all good. So the actual camera on its own, and this is the beauty of this, I can have that full setup like that with everything on it, and that's how I would normally have it if I'm just going out for a few hours or whatever, and I just want a tiny little package, a little tiny camera, I've also got it in the same camera. I have got the GX7 which I use as well, but this works just as well, and the handling is really nice now. Some people have said there are issues with knocking the buttons and dials, but I've not had any problems with it like this. You've got a nice big thumb grip at the back, nice to hold, a bit more of a grip at the front. Sits nicely in the hand, two hands. It works really well. You can do nice video, just pop out, hold it in your left hand, and you can shoot video and control it quite nicely, get it nice and stable. Works really well. Viewfinder, fantastic. Looks very similar to me as the one on the EM1, which was lovely. I don't talk about it too much because to me it's just not an issue, viewfinders anymore. I think they're all wonderful. That's fantastic. The biggest downside for me on this camera is the handling is dreadful, and coming from the GH4, the GH3 and the GX7, they're so simple to set up and they're so intuitive. Everything's touchscreen, the menus are all touchscreen. This is touchscreen in some respects, but not through some of the menus. But then you'll get an odd button on screen that is touchscreen that you wouldn't expect it to be, because why would it be? There's no dedicated button for changing the autofocus from autofocus continuous to single shot or tracking and things like that, and I can't set it up how I would like it. And the EM1 had two buttons over here which were sort of two buttons but did four functions, and everything was on those two buttons, and it was nice and easy. You press a button, you turn the wheel. It's got this multi-function lever which you can set up to do different things, and basically I've got that to do autofocus single and then autofocus continuous. And then there's a button in the middle. I press that and that gives me ISO and white balance on the two dials. So the actual setup I've got now is okay. Shooting menu, I go off the D-pad, but they're not marked, so you can't, sometimes I don't remember which one I've set it up on and things like that. You have got all these function buttons, but don't let the function buttons fool you. They don't do everything, and sometimes by setting the function up on one thing deactivates it on another, and it's just unfathomable why they've done it like this. On the plus side, there is this like super control screen, and you can have the super control screen either by pressing the OK button and it goes into it and then it's touch screen and dials, or you can have the super control screen on all the time, but then if you touch it nothing happens. But then I found if you double tap it then becomes active as a touchscreen, which is actually quite a good thing, but I don't know how I'd ever found that out. It was just purely by chance, because if you're taking a picture and your nose touches it or you accidentally touch the screen, it doesn't activate. You have to double tap, activates it, and then you can change everything. So you can get to everything, you can change everything, but it's not like a pro or a semi-pro camera, or like the GH4 and the GH3. All the things that I use regularly are all on either buttons or dials, and it's not like press a button, turn a dial half the time. Most of the things are, you just turn the dial and it goes to that option or whatever, which to me it makes sense. There's plenty of real estate on here to put more useful functions, because like there's a dedicated HDR button. For me, that's not a particularly useful function. I'm very rarely going to use that. If I'm going to do HDR, I do it in post-production. So I will set that to something else, but then there's not that many things that are on the list of things that I want to set that to. So, and then you've got to remember, oh, what did I set that to? So if I press that, what did I set it to? Oh, I switched it back to HDR for that exact reason, so I can remember what it is, and I don't need it to do anything else. But the what should we talk about? The speed. Let's just go through the speed. Everyone likes to know how fast it shoots. So we've got lots of options. I say lots of options, it's ridiculous. There is, and I'll go through the options because there are so many. Single shot anti-shock, single shot silent, sequential high silent, sequential low, sequential low anti-shock, sequential low silent, 12-second delay, 12-second delay with anti-shock, 12-second delay with silent, 2-second delay, 2-second delay with anti-shock, 2-second delay with silent, customizable self-timer, and you can set that up however you want to take 3 shots after half a second or something like that, 1 second apart. Then you've got that same customizable one with anti-shock and the same customizable one with silent, so 3 customizable, and then on that screen as well is a quick access to the high res function as well. So that's all in there. Now I'm just going to go through sequential low. Let's just focus it on something here. It's very quiet. That's sequential low. Plenty fast enough. And I'll just change it to sequential high. And then depending on whether you're in continuous autofocus or single, that will speed up or slow down. And I think it's adequate is the way I would describe the speed of shooting. Autofocus is in continuous mode, as with all these, is not fantastic, but it's better than it appears, and I can't describe it, but when you're in continuous focusing, it does this thing where I'm not sure whether it's ever in focus, but you've just got to trust it and shoot, and what you find is a lot more of the shots are in focus than you perhaps thought they were, because it's trying to grab focus so quickly and it's changing so quickly, it's difficult to see what it's really doing on screen. But if you just shoot away, I've taken some pictures of running dogs, which is my usual test, and I got loads of in focus shots, and certainly no better or worse than what I'm used to. Probably not quite as good as the GH4, that was particularly good in continuous focus. So there you are. Okay, you've got all the usual guff on here, scene modes and art modes, intelligent auto modes. One of the nice things, you can actually, instead of having, like I've got the intelligent auto mode here, if I flick it to intelligent auto mode, I've got that set up as my black and white mode, which is quite nice, and instead of using the art filter one, you can set that up to what you want as well, which is quite useful, because I never use intelligent auto anyway, so I've got that set up as a custom black and white setting. For me, works a treat, so that's good. The high res mode, I'll throw a couple of photos that I've taken of my GX7 actually, and I thought that was a bit of a gimmick, but within the constraints of shooting a fixed stationary subject from a fixed stationary point, i.e. a nice sturdy tripod, it works fantastically. The resolution is astounding. You know, you end up with a 40 megapixel file JPEG or a 60 megapixel RAW file, which, let's face it, if you want to use a 60 megapixel RAW file and edit it, that's up to you, but that's not something I'm going to sit there waiting 20 minutes for it to load up and make changes on it. It's just not workable for me. You need some kind of supercomputer to work those sort of files, but the 40 megapixel JPEG is usable. You can even view that on like an iPad, and you're not going to do it loads of times, so you're probably going to take one photo and edit it and, you know, things like that. But the amount of detail in it absolutely astounded me. There's also a little function button on the front there. A few people have said that without the grip that's a bit of a problem and you can easily knock it. I've not found that to be the case, and when you get the grip on, it changes your angle of attack on the whole camera and it doesn't become a problem anyway. So I would suggest, if that is a major issue from you, just get at least the hand grip. But it works absolutely fine with the whole battery grip. Your fingers are nowhere near that. The dials are really nicely milled, machined aluminium. The only thing I would say, and I don't know why they've done it, is the back dial is nice and clicky. These dials, nice and clicky. The front dial, which is possibly the one you use more than anything, and it's the one that you're more likely to knock because it's got the shutter button in it, and it's the same on the grip and the camera, so it's not like a fault with mine. It's not clicky, it's more smooth. It does click, but it's a smooth click, whereas that's a definite click. Don't know why they've done that. That baffles me. It really does baffle me. And they've made them slightly different sizes, but hey ho. So, image quality with the normal JPEGs and normal RAW files are fantastic. I will be honest now, unless I'm doing paid work, I do not use RAW files anymore. I get loads of data in the JPEGs. I've got the camera set up to shoot the JPEGs as I would edit them, and I find now, especially when I'm just shooting for myself, I very rarely edit a photo. Sometimes I'll just put it on the iPad, pull it into Snapseed, look at it and think, I'm not, there's nothing I need to do to it, which is fantastic. It's, you know, it improves your workflow, saves you time. Again, if you want to import them into Lightroom and edit them, there's no problem with that, and the RAW files have got loads of data in, and you can recover shadow details and that, but to be honest, there's plenty of detail in the shadows on the JPEGs anyway, and it's just a much easier file. They're only 16 megapixels, so they're fairly small files, just nice and easy to use. So handling, I really didn't like it at the beginning. I've got it handling as best I can, is all I can say. If an EM1 Mark II comes out with better handling, I will probably upgrade to that, or maybe have this as my second camera. Don't know yet. But image quality is fantastic. It's, if anything, slightly better than the GX7 and the GH4 I was using. It seems to be a little bit sharper, depending on what lenses you're using. But you know, same lenses on both cameras. I'm certainly getting better, I would say, results, and it's it's a bit pricey at the moment, but you know, with grip and that, I paid just over £1,000. What's that? I don't know, about $1,500, I suppose. I'm not sure. So it is quite pricey at the minute, but I think it's worth it. And the video is just fantastic. I have put a slow motion video, just my dogs running around in the garden. That's already on YouTube. You can have a look at that and give you an idea. And I will caveat that with, I am crap at video, and it is something that I am practicing more and more with now, and using, trying to get better at. I am trying to get better at my video. Just on the subject of video, there's loads of options for video. You've got the slow-mo options. You can do speedy uppy options. There's 25 frames per second, 50 frames per second. All different bit rates and things, and so you can pretty much pick and choose. It is no GH4, and it probably isn't quite, it's closer to the GH3, I would say, in video than the GH4, but it has got the slow motion function. Actually delivers slow motion video for you, whereas the GH3 doesn't do that. The GH4 did, but the GH3 you have to do it in post, whereas this, you can take your video, stick it on an iPad, upload it, and it will be already in slow motion. You've set it previously on the camera. Works a treat. You've got obviously one SD card slot on the side, so you don't have to take grip off to get that, which is really nice. On the other side, you've got the usual stuff. You've got a full-size USB AV out, a HDMI, and a microphone socket, which is essential. There's no headphone jack on the camera, but I don't care because they've put it on the grip, so it gives you an option. And this is my problem with the GX7, is that there's no microphone input. And if they had done something similar, okay, we haven't, you know, be honest, we haven't got room in the camera for it, you know, or the microphone, or we want you to buy a little extra. If they had bought a little extra bit that clips on the bottom that you can plug a microphone and a headphone jack into, that would be a serious, stunning camera, apart from the fact that the image stabilization doesn't work in video, but when you're using lenses like these, Lumix, it's good anyway. So there you go. Sorry I've rambled on a bit. I don't go into too much details about the technical side. I'm more about the actual use of the camera, and in my opinion, it's, as I say, it's a compromise with regards to handling, but the image quality and the way I've got it set up now, especially with the grip and that, it is perfect for me. I'm absolutely loving it, really am. Will I keep it? That's always a good question, and I always say, oh yeah, I probably will, but generally I don't. Depends what comes out next. But I am getting more and more, I'm certainly getting closer to my perfect camera. This, if they have all these features plus a bit faster and better handling in the M1, that's going to be pretty much my perfect camera. Or even if they brought out Lumix brought out GH5 with 5-axis in-body stabilisation, that would be my perfect camera. So there you go, working really well. So this has been, sorry to ramble on a bit, this has been GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Views, Opinions. I'll see you soon. Bye.